As you know, today schools are closed. Teachers walking out of the classroom. We should say most schools are closed. Governor Doug Ducey recently proposed a 20% pay raise for teachers. Say that's not enough.
As you know, those teachers pushing for more funding also to tackle things like growing class size, outdated equipment, dated textbooks. So the governor gracious enough to join us this morning to talk about this, and it's going to be a dramatic scene out there at the Arizona State Capitol. And we've been hearing from the leaders of this movement, and they say they want FaceTime with you. So what is the plan today?
The plan today is we are going to be working with the legislature so we can deliver on this pay raise. I want to see our teachers get a 20% pay increase by 2020. We were at the Capitol late last night, meeting with legislative leadership, making phone calls, bringing people into the office. The idea is I want to be able to announce we have a deal. There will be a 20% increase for all of our teachers, but it will be more than our teachers. It's our support staff as well. There's other people in the school that are equally important, and I think all of us know the most important people inside these schools are our kids. I don't think anyone wants to strike, anyone wants to see this go on, so I want to be able to answer the question for these teachers, for the support staff about these additional funds. We have the dollars in the state of Arizona. Now it's on the legislature to get this passed, and I want to say to the viewers, anybody that wants to see a 20% pay increase for our teachers, to go to azledge.gov. Find your legislator, if you don't know who they are, and tell them to pass the 20% pay raise for our teachers.
I think why the teachers are striking today, and my conversations with a few, is they don't trust that you're going to be able to deliver. Why hasn't the legislature come up with a bill and a vote, and how close are you in terms of votes?
Well, we're very close in terms of votes, but until you get 16 and 31, that's a majority in both our chambers, it really doesn't matter. That's why I'm asking for citizen engagement here, to go to azledge.gov. We do have the money to do this. Our state economy is booming. We've been one of the fastest growing states in the country over the last 3 years. Maricopa County is growing county in the nation. On April 11th, we received independent forecast from both the CBO and the Finance Advisory Committee that there would be a $1.5 billion increase in revenues in the state of Arizona over the next 5 years. That gave us the ability to project out that we can get this 20% raise. And once we give the raise, the teachers have this raise. The money goes in for support staff. But we have to pass this budget. We need to get it through the legislature, and that's what I'm going to be working on all day today.
But they keep talking about this $1 billion they want for the classrooms, though, too.
Well, part of that is this $100 million in this budget with the commitment to $371 million. When you want to get back to where you were in terms of restored funding, the only way to do it is to add additional funding. These are significant dollars that we're putting in this year's budget, but I need to get it passed.
The two realities just don't seem to sit well together. I mean, Arizona doing well, yet we're ranking at the bottom in terms of classroom funding. It's just simply not good enough, and you can understand the frustration all around.
Sure, there is frustration all around, but I also want to give kudos to these teachers, because where we rank in terms of student improvement in math and reading, we lead the nation. So these teachers have earned a pay raise. They are getting the results and outcomes inside the classroom. The state has the available dollars. Our economy's growing. Let's get the pay to the teachers and to the support staff, along with flexible dollars for textbooks, classroom improvements, etc. All this is needed in our system. We have the dollars. I'm calling on the legislature to pass this budget.
Are you afraid that we're at kind of a stalemate right now, with teachers wanting one thing, legislators not being able to do it at this point?
Well, legislators can do it.
But
legislators can do it, and well, let's work through the day today and see where we are.
So they're in the middle. The teachers are here. They do want to hear from you and see you, but you will be meeting with the legislature
I'm meeting with the legislature, but I'm meeting with teachers. I'm meeting with superintendents. I'm meeting with principals. Of course, I've been listening to these teachers. That's why we came out on April 12th with the 20% pay increase after we got the projections from the Finance Advisory Committee, from the Congressional Budget Office, and we can do this 20%. That's what I want to deliver on. If people like that idea of 20% for our teachers, go to azledge.gov and tell your legislator to vote yes on this.
What are your personal thoughts on this? When you're away from work, you're at home at night, how much of a political game is this going on right now?
Well, I'm going to to focus on the policy. I'm going to focus on the teachers. I'm going to focus on the parents, often that are both working, that today are trying to find daycare. Sometimes their kids eat breakfast or lunch at these schools. This is a issue, and I look at it as an issue that we need to solve as elected leaders.
Where does the district by district, how does that leadership play into all of this, and where is Diane Douglas in this picture?
Well, district by district, we have the superintendents behind us in terms of this idea of restoring additional assistance. That's dollars for support staff. That's dollars for textbooks. That's the flexible dollars.
Okay.
So they want to see that happen, but they also said we need to see a plan for the teacher that goes out for some time. That's where the 20% by 2020, but I met with those superintendents on April 10th. Those reports, those financial forecasts that other economists at the Eller School, at the Seidman Institute, at Moody's say are reasonable estimates, that came out on April 11th, and then we had the press conference on April 12th. It's time to pass this pay raise for Arizona's teachers, 20% by 2020. In terms of the superintendents, they want to be the ones in charge of their district, and I want them in charge of their district. The governor and the legislature should be in the resource business. The principals and the superintendents should be in the teacher pay and raise business. They know which teachers doing what and where they should be inside the classroom, but they need the dollars. That's what this budget will do.
Now, you never wanted this walkout to begin with. What if this goes into next week?
Deal with this week right now, I don't want to see a teacher strike. I think that if you pass a pay raise of 20%, and there is still a strike, that doesn't make sense to parents. I don't think it would make sense to teachers. I think if they see that they're going to get a pay raise and there will be dollars for support staff, and we have a commitment to ongoing funding, and it's permanent and in the base, they'll say that's good enough for me. Let's go finish up the school year. Let's get through graduations. But I want teachers to know we're never going to check the box on K-12 education. We're in a better financial position today as a state, and we're going to act on it to education and our kids' benefit.
So, Governor, we've been soliciting some questions from teachers in particular for you, and they're focusing on funding. Why not look at lottery money to further fund these pay raises and the classroom education? Why not look at a potential tax on marijuana? Why not look at a corporate tax? So these are the messages that we're getting in, and we'll be putting those up on the screen.
Sure. Well, we're looking across the board in terms of we're taking the dollars that are surplus dollars in our budget right now, but where we can find dollars in efficiencies, in decisions we've made inside state government. We've taken some of the priorities that I listed in the State of the State and put them aside for another day to put every available dollar into teacher pay. I think that's the most important thing right now. I've thought that for some time, but now we have the available dollars and the positive forecast that we can have confidence in, so we can get dollars to these teachers right now. A lot of people want to talk about tax increases. The reason I don't want to talk about tax increases is, first, we have the dollars to do this plan. We have the dollars to do 20% by 2020.
Okay.
The reason we have those dollars is because our economy is growing. So I've been able to make commitments to job creators and business owners that when they come to Arizona, they're not going to have the rug pulled out from underneath them. So we can do this pay raise with the dollars that are in our general fund. Those are the sustainable dollars that you can have when they're put into the base, and we're going to get that to our teachers.
Well, if the dollars are there, why isn't this easier for legislators to come up with something?
Well, it's always a discussion down at the state legislature. Also, I want to say in fairness, although I'm ready to sign this budget right now today, I said I'd do it on air. These figures came out on April 12th. I think people wanted to understand them. They wanted to have their own small group meetings. Their own discussions of how this would work going forward. We've been going back and forth on revenue forecasts, but we're very close, and I'm going to be putting all the pressure I can in a positive way to get this passed today. There's nothing like citizen engagement, so if you want to see this teacher pay raise, again, azledge.gov.
You focused on a positive business climate for Arizona and to recruit more dollars into the state, but would you agree that those businesses won't come if our public school system is among the most poorly funded in the country?
Businesses are coming, and our public school system is doing very well in terms of outcomes and results. We're putting significant new dollars into our K-12 system, and I don't want people to forget that since 2015 we've put $1.7 billion additional dollars.
Okay.
Per pupil funding is up 10%. We passed Prop 123, which is $3.5 billion of additional dollars over the next 10 years, and we just extended Prop 301, which is certainty for the next 20 years. So we're doing a lot of positive steps in K-12 education. More needs to be done, specifically teacher pay, and that's what this budget will do.
You were in the studio here a moment ago when Joe Thomas said that you were ignoring him and you wouldn't sit down face to face. What is your reaction to that?
Well, I'm not ignoring anyone. I'm listening to our teachers. I have a package, and now I'm taking action with people that actually can make it, bring it to life, and that's our legislators, and I need to get those votes, and that's what I'm focused on right now. I've met with a lot of teachers. I've met with a lot of teachers. Red for Ed movement. I've met with superintendents and principals, but now's the time for action, and that's what I'm going to do.
So the legislators that you've talked to that might be a no vote, what are they against?
They're not against the idea of teacher pay. They do want to understand how it goes in the base, how it will affect future budgets, and I appreciate that. I consider myself very financially responsible.
Right.
I came into office with a $1 billion deficit. That hasn't been lost on me, but we tightened our belt. Our budgets have been very frugal, less than 3%. This is a very reasonable, responsible, and sustainable budget plan that gets these dollars to the teachers with flexible dollars for support staff. It's time to pass it.
We need Arizona students to graduate from our high school system and be competitive out in the collegiate level and also in the workforce. What do you say to parents who really are concerned? Maybe they can't afford a private school. Maybe they're not getting into the most competitive charter schools, and they're worried.
Well, I want all of our kids to have access to education, an excellent education. And our public districts and our public charters are improving faster in math and reading than any other schools in the nation. So our kids are walking across that stage in May, and they're going on to the honors colleges, the service academies, and the finest schools, the military, and into careers after that. We have a great education available in the state of Arizona. When these businesses come here, they know that. I would say where our biggest challenges are, we have some challenges in the rural areas. We have challenges on our tribal nations. And I'm not saying it's perfect here in the urban areas, but we're making really significant, measurable signs of progress. When we bring these dollars into the classroom to our teachers and support staff, we should expect to see more of that.
Governor, give us that website one more time.
The website that people can go to is azleg.gov, and please find your legislator and tell them a 20% pay increase for these teachers, and that's the best thing that people can do right now to make this happen.
We'll have that on our website as well.
Yeah, and you're hopeful that there will be some resolution even today, or if not today, tomorrow, so that we are
the sooner the better.
Okay.
The sooner the better. Like I said, I'm ready to sign this. The conversations went late into the evening last night. We were up early this morning working the phones, and I'd like to have an announcement that we have struck a deal, and it's going to result in this 20% pay increase. It's also going to result in additional dollars for support staff, and it will be ongoing, permanent, and in the base.
Well, we appreciate your time this morning. We wish you the best of luck. Hopefully something will happen today.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Governor. We'll take a break.